Let's start this with a prayer. Dear Father, I just thank you for this day and this opportunity to be used as a vessel to let your people know that you are available, able, and ready in the name of Jesus of Nazareth. Let's cut this bread. Psalms 9, 11 through 12, and both of these are coming from the Message. Sing your songs to Zion, dwelling God. Tell his stories to everyone you meet, how he tracks down killers, yet keeps his eye on us, registers every whimper and moan. Psalm 11:7. God's business is putting things right. He loves getting the line straight, setting us straight. Once we're standing tall, we can look him straight in the eye. Listen, God is amazing. And like literally, this obedience pays off like it's nobody's business. Being obedient to what he's called you to do, being obedient to the way that he's called you to live, being obedient to the way that he's called you to conduct yourself in your affairs. Like when things are wrong, what do? The first thing I think that we do when something is wrong is like, oh, this is wrong and this is messed up and we start complaining. We start complaining about what's wrong, what we don't have, what we need. And then it's like, then it's the dread. Like, man, I was trying to do this, now I gotta do this, and it's a lot. I'm guilty of it. I've done it plenty of times. Now, right, for me, when I have an issue, I'm like, hey, God, we got a problem. Now, I needed a new car, right? I had got this car from JD Byrider. I paid like $15,000 on it in like 3 years. And interest rate was like 28 point something percent. It was a trapper, but it got me to where I needed to go. And it was cool. But lately it had been turning off by itself. Like I'd get in the car, turn it and be like, da, 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 da. So I'm thinking it's the starter. Like it's gonna go. My heat didn't work. So it was cold getting in the car. The button to roll the window up was broke. My brakes were bad. I needed to get it registered and have emissions. Like, I didn't get it registered. I had to get an extension. So I paid the $8 to get the extension. And I'm thinking like, I don't want to pay this money to go get it registered. And there's so many things wrong with it. And even, or to get emissions done. And then if I get emissions done, like what else is going to be wrong with it, right? So it started acting crazy last week and it was doing that and it was like, like you would just, it was breaking down like, I'm so done, right? That's my car. Like I'm so done. And I'm in the car like, man, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. He was all right. Whatever. And this is the kicker. I quit my job at the hospital. I was making over $25 an hour because, a year ago I had said, God, I don't want to be here next year. And God knew that it was going to take something like coronavirus and them mandating this vaccine to piss me off. And I was going to be like, no, God, I'm not running nothing by nobody. Like he knew it. So this was my way out. But on my way out, like I started doing Instacart, I was doing DoorDash, like I'm trying to do everything possible to have some money coming in, like everything, right? And dude, I was talking to somebody last week and I was telling her like I trust God so much. I said I was making like $160 a day. I said, and today I made $60. And she just looked at me. I said, but I trust God. I trust him so much. And I don't tell people like my business because what you gonna do, right? But I will tell you when God needs me to have a testimony. Like, look, I told you this was happening. I told you this was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Now you finna see God come through. So I'm just, I get my kids, I take them to school, I go hustle, I do what I gotta do, whatever. And yesterday, having a conversation with my brother. My brother's like, Tom, you should just go try to get a new car. And I'm like, nah, man, Now, I told God I needed a new car. And I'm like, God, I'd really like to have a car before I go to Puerto Rico because I'm going to Puerto Rico in 2 weeks. I didn't know how it was going to happen. You know what I mean? My brother come through and he hands me an envelope and he was like, here, Merry Christmas. It's a fat envelope, right? Merry Christmas, Tanya. And I'm like, what is that, ones? He was like, no, it's 20s. He was like, this is for your rent. You work hard, you ain't got to. Then he starts telling me to go look for a car, right? Just like, and he's like, don't come back home without a new car. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And listen, I don't like the finagling that happens when, you come into a dealership and this is what goes on and blah, blah, blah. The car that I wanted was too high and too many miles. And I'm like, no, let me just find a different one. I find a different one. Okay, everything goes through, and it's kind of surreal because I feel like it's still not real, but I end up leaving with a car. And, God knows. God knows. You know what I'm saying? And this is just one small testimony of what he's done. Sing your songs to Zion, dwelling God. Tell his stories to everyone you meet and how he tracks down killers. Listen, he's going to kill that doubt. He's going to kill that confusion. He's going to kill that trouble. He's going to kill all of that. And legit, I was singing a new song to him every day. It didn't matter what it looked like. I'm still singing a song to you, God. I still love you. I still trust you. I still believe in you. You still kept me. Because God told me 3 years ago when I had broke up with my kid's dad, I'm going to take care of you and these girls. And when I tell you God is taking care of me and my daughters, we don't lack or want for nothing. My bank account, though, I got $200 in there. Right? All my bills are paid, right? I got a new whip that I ain't got to pay until January. But he made it happen. Singing these songs helped kill any doubt that I would have that he wouldn't come through. I'm singing songs, and this is how you fight the devil too. You praise and worship confuses him because he's like, oh, her car's not starting, or this is happening and this is happening. Why isn't she upset? Why isn't she going back to normal? Why can't I get her? Nigga, because you don't move me. My God said all I got to do is call on him. Psalms 9:12 says, yet he keeps his eye on us, registers every whimper and moan. You know how cold it was getting in the car? My feet is freezing. I was like, God, my toes is cold. And for him to do what he did, sometimes, God's saying, speak things into existence. And I kept saying, I need a car. I need a car. I need a car. I need a car. I needed the nudge from my brother to be like, man, go get it. Because my brother had been telling me plenty of times, Tanya, man, why don't you try to get a new car, Tanya? Why don't you try to get out of this? I'm like, nah, man. Even before I got the car, my brother was like, look, let's go somewhere out. I got you. And I'm like, nah, because I don't want to put it on his plate. You know what I'm saying? Not that he would think like that, but it's just how I'm built. I don't know how to take the help. So God knows that. He knows I'm stubborn, but he knows he could send my brother in. My brother would gift me with some money and I could go and get a new car. So this is how it worked out. I do Instacart DoorDash, right? My brother gives me $600. I just made $400 in Instacart. So I walk out not really paying anything, not really losing any money. You know what I'm saying? And that $200 I got in the bank, I'm finna go pay God right now. And then my son come home. My son's like, here, Mom, here goes $100 for groceries. You can't tell me God don't listen. Psalms 11:7, God's business is putting things right. He loves getting the line straight, setting us straight. Once we're standing tall, we can look it straight in the eye. I know what it's like to be broke down. I know what it's like to go through situations that mess you up inside where you're not standing at your greatest height, your greatest potential. And it's God being like, look, I'm going to get everything right. This type of trust, this type of faith, this type of confidence in him. It's not in me and anything that I do, because when you look at it on paper, I am not attractive. I'm broke, right? But when you look at it in the spirit, I'm wealthy because my Father is in charge of everything. He opens up the windows of heaven and pours down blessings, lets them flood you, let your cup overflow. And I'm not geeked because I got a new car. I'm geeked because how it happened. I think it was the shortest sales time in history. I went in, I got there at like 1:30. By like 3:30, 4:30, I was gone. And that's only because the financing dude was jacking and, you know, we were having a good time. Real life clowning though. But it's God's business of putting things right. Like when you trust him, when you come to him with your problems, he hears all of it. He hears all of it. You wouldn't know that if you don't have a relationship with Yeshua to be like, man, I went through everything. I went through everything. So you could be in a spot where you could holler at God and call on him directly. Like, hey God, I got this problem. Cause I real life, like for me, like he's my dude. Like we in a car. I'm like, what's going on? Like, you know I need a wet. You know I need whatever. You know whatever. Like I'm in a relationship with him. And I think the problem is a lot of people don't understand relationships and how they work. This is that type of relationship where it's like, hey, we're talking all the time, so, you know, I need to see you constantly. You got something going on, I need you to run it by me. You ain't got to do it alone. God is like, I'm here. I'm here for you. Anything you need. And it's not about anything externally, but internally. The stress, the worry, the pressure, the confusion on like, man, I don't see how it's gonna come. And he's saying, look, I'm gonna make this road straight for you. I'm gonna set everything straight and I'm gonna get you right. So at the end of the day, you can stand tall and you can look me straight in my eye and like, God, thank you. You did it. Nobody like you. There's nobody like God. I don't like telling my business, but I will tell my business because of him. I don't care what anybody think. I really don't. Man, and I love that he takes the nothings. Oh, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this. God saying, you're the apple in my eye. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. I knew you when you was in your mother's womb. I'm never going to leave you nor forsake you. I'm going to uphold you with my righteous right hand. I'm going to tell you what this righteous right hand looked like. He coming through. For those that love him, for those that seek him, he is there. Like, oh, you was looking for me? You found me. This is how I come through. Now go and tell these stories to other people and let them know how God tracks the killers and he keeps his eye on us and registers every whimper and moan. We're his children. He ain't that type of father. He's a real father. A real father is like, I need to be present in my children's life. A real father is like, I need to make sure they're wise concerning their affairs. A real father is like, I need to make sure that they're safe when they're coming and going. I need to make sure they're good when they rising and when they sitting down. And he knows all of those things. Ain't nobody like God. Like, who could compare to him? Nobody out here. Nobody. Listen, holla at God. Holla at God. Like, you don't understand. We can have heaven here on earth while it's a prequel to hell with everything that's going on. And God being like, look, when you with me, you doing things a whole lot different. Holla at God.